What's up, everybody? We're back. It's ATLiens United podcast, and this is season number 2, episode 1. We couldn't be more excited to be back in the booth. I'm Blake, the Marshman, joined as always by my wonderful colleague,
ATL Joe.
And we're here. We're ready. We're ready for, I guess, a title defense is where we're at now, Joe. So, you got anything to add? We're ready.
Yeah,
for the season
I'm ready
now.
to hear our new song about to drop this weekend.
Let's bump it.
You could probably catch me in the front row with a bad bitty body banging like a bongo. We got the cup, but we want more. Can you tell a boca? We got Leandro. Everybody here, alright, hola. You know what it is, 5 stripes don't stop. You know what it is, we just cut up with the rest. Now we gotta go start hanging with the crest. They lost in translation, they not understanding me. Joseph Martinez, Atlanta is family. My city love me, Orlando was mad at me. I can't be clean when they stuck open trash at me. WrestleMania, Fred the boy, MLS champs. Gotta thank the Lord, boy we number 1. What you take us for? Gotta shout out all the Blake, Santa Claus.
Wow.
That song is dope.
I mean, that might be a word that the cool kids would use to describe it.
I think I want to play that on repeat on my way to and from work every single day.
Yeah, I think that was pretty lit. Big shout out to, as always, our artist who has written all of our original music for ATLiens United podcast. Britt, our producers, put together a lot, but St. Brie, great job, as always. Want to give a big shout out to him. He's going to be coming to you guys all season long. This is season 2 of us, season 3 of Atlanta United. And let's jump right into it, Joe. We're back. We've come off a long off season. There's been a lot of movement over this break. Since we lifted the MLS Cup, since it took a trip to Magic City, since we've hoisted it and now it sits in the bins in its rightful home, we prepare for a kit launch. I guess that's exciting. Everyone's getting excited about a new jersey. I kind of like the old ones. Like, what has happened, Joe? I need you to help me out. I've been in not necessarily a coma, but I've just kind of been drowsy from this entire championship to now. It feels like it's been one day, and it's been, almost 2 months?
Yeah, hot news, Blake. Atlanta United won the MLS Cup. We are the champions.
Woo!
Yes, and a star ascended, actually, scratch that, a star descended from the heavens and came down and is making itself home on top of Atlanta United's crests.
So you're saying we have a star on our crest?
Yes.
Cool.
And you'll be able to see that star revealed Friday, 5 Stripe Friday, when they reveal the new kit that may or may not have already been leaked.
Yeah, it's been all over social media. I guess I'm excited about a new jersey. I don't necessarily like the idea that every 2 years we have to buy a new home jersey. That's really expensive. But
hey, it's all good. It's more jersey sales, more popularity. But I'm still going to wear my original Atlanta United kit with that 2017 inaugural season on the back. That's always going to be my Friday shirt.
yeah, guys, and we don't know what you guys were up to during the break. I've missed the heck out of Atlanta United. I'm sure Joe has. I can see it in his face right now. He looks like he just woke up on Christmas morning, and he's been, Christmas Eve took forever. He's ready to go. He's ready for the season. Let's talk about some things that happened while we were gone. Obviously, we won the MLS Cup. That was exciting. We hosted the Super Bowl, Atlanta, the city, and that was pretty cool. We didn't blow this one. Is it still too soon?
That really hurt my heart.
I mean, we did. We put on a pretty good, the fireworks were cool, and the halftime show was all right. And if you like shirtless dudes, and
Did you see Dybala was there?
yeah, and I mean, Travis Scott played half a song, and then Big Boy, that was pretty tight. I saw a stat that Big Boy actually gained more yards driving that car on the field than the entire LA Rams offense.
I think that's a good stat. That might hold up in court.
Okay, we digress. Miggy's gone. Wait, what?
No, Miggy. No, it's very, very sad to us. But also, it's bittersweet because he is realizing his dream to go to the Premier League. It's what we brought him on to do, to sell him on to the top league in the world, and we were able to get the deal done. I guess that we're still sleeping because that deal did not hit $30 million. So,
yeah, I think
is Darren out of bed yet?
I think there's some add-ons.
Did someone wake up Darren?
There's a lot of clauses, a lot of add-ons. It's the deal's about as complicated as the MLS financial structure, so we won't worry too much about it. All we know is that Miggy's now playing in England. We made a lot of millions, and we got to see Miggy running around in the cold. He made his debut the other night, played about 20 minutes in a 1-1 draw against the Wolves. Yeah, but good for Miggy. He looks happy. He's playing for a world-class coach in Rafa Benitez, formerly of Liverpool, won a Champions League there all the way back in 2005. He's ended up in Newcastle United. They're fighting the relegation battle this season, but they're on the up and up. They knocked off previous year's champions Manchester City just a couple weeks ago. I like this team a lot. They play a pretty fun counterattacking style, and I think Miggy's going to be a linchpin moving forward for Newcastle.
Yeah, I think they gained a new fan in myself. I'm going to be following a lot of Newcastle games, and I know I'm not the only one. There's going to be a ton of Atlanta United faithful trying to see how Miggy does in the Premier League.
Yeah, there's already a pretty good Newcastle United crew down at Brewhouse, so I'm sure that crowd is going to grow on Saturday and Sunday mornings. Always, guys, don't forget, check out Brewhouse on the weekends. It's great for Premier League and brunch.
And Atlanta United.
So we got so many new faces coming in. We're going to get to that later on in the show. A couple departing players we needed to touch on. Garza is gone. He's actually going to play us in our home opener. FC Cincinnati is where he headed, the brand new team this year. All I would say is good luck staying healthy, man. Like, you just have not been able to keep your health together. I think that's the main reason we parted ways with Garza. We signed him for he played 2 full seasons with us technically as an Atlanta United player, and I don't even think he was healthy for 1 full season. So, I mean, this guy just missed so much time with injury. I really hope for him because he's a great dude. I hope that he can stay healthy. I hope that every time he plays for Cincinnati against us, he plays terrible.
Yeah. I want to say, Greg Garza, thank you for your service. You were probably the best left back in the league when healthy, but that is the big caveat right there. He just can't seem to stay healthy. He came over from Tijuana, and in Liga MX, he was not healthy the entire time he was there, and that's why they sent him off. And you are not worth the money if you can't stay on the field. Granted, when you're on the field, you are probably the best player in the MLS at your position.
Yeah, and we kind of waived our... I wouldn't call it a real left back. He started out as a club at a left midfielder. Then he moved to a center back, played a little bit of left back. He's the Irish journeyman. He's Chris McCann. And we'll never forget Chris McCann because I watched him chug a bottle of Fireball on top of the parade bus that someone threw to him. And I thought that was absolutely hysterical. Chris McCann's a good dude.
He was holding that sign up, said, "Where's the beer? Throw me a beer."
Yeah.
He was responsible for everybody chucking full beers onto the bus and nailing players and their kids alike.
Yeah, we got a little excited for the parade.
You know, Chris McCann, I also want to thank him for his service. He is the guy that played every single position but his natural position. And he filled in very formidably as a left back, as a center back when needed, sometimes pushing up as a left wing. And he has a good natural service of the ball, but with his paid salary, I am okay to see him go, and we can save that money to bring on other players.
Yeah, if money made you faster, then maybe we could have kept Chris McCann. Unfortunately, it seemed like money made him slower. Every game, he seemed to just be a little step behind. Chris McCann, great dude. Thanks for bringing the Irish party to Atlanta. We'll miss you, man. And congrats on the championship. Final rumor about an outgoing player, and this is one that makes me really sad. I didn't see this coming. Darlington Nagbe, arguably my favorite player in terms of just a pure possession footballer. He plays in the middle. Lovely first touch. Love watching this guy. He is actually not showed up to any of our preseason training. He's rumored to be wanted to be trading to the Crew, which was saved, by the way. That's other offseason news. The Crew was saved. So all the people that laughed at Save the Crew. Crew's back. They're going to be here for a while. They got bought by some NFL owners, and they're here to stay. Austin FC is going to be a separate team. But Darlington wants to go play for him, Joe. What do you think about this?
Well, it's just a rumor right now, and that's hold your horses. He hasn't left the team. We still own him. He's under contract for multiple years.
Then where is he?
We bought we brought him in via trade or buying him out for one of the biggest buyouts interleague in history. So if he wants to go to another team, that's albeit to him, but they're going to have to buy him. And I am totally fine with selling Darlington Nagbe and making a profit. And that way we bring in more than $1 million worth of money to go buy another player of equal or even better talent. Now, that being said, I am totally fine with keeping Darlington Nagbe on our team and tell him to grow up, man up, and do your job. And then you can play in that central midfield. You can compete for your starting position because that is not guaranteed. And we can still have the best team in the league.
Yeah, I just think Nagbe was originally part of this club's plans for the season, and he's waited till February to seemingly demand this trade. It's just not striking me as a good look. Granted, a little bit of background, this is his college coach, I believe, and then also a coach that coached him with the Portland Timbers that has gone on to coach at Columbus. So I think that there is some family ties there as well. I know he has a lot of family in Ohio. So it's family, it's familiarity, but you got to be a professional, man. If he wanted this done, he should have been talking about it early January with the front office. And if he talks about it early January, then we're not looking at our midfield going, dang, what are we going to do? Because I think we could be in that situation. I'm not saying we are in that situation, but this is a guy I really don't want to see go and a guy that I really loved playing for Atlanta, despite his horrendous impression on that Tifo that we brought out that one game. You remember that?
Maybe that's the reason he wants to leave.
He says, like, that Tifo didn't look like me. I'm out of here. I guess, there's not a lot of other news. Like, news is ongoing. We got so much going on before the season. We got CONCACAF Champions League coming up. We've had some preseason games. Most of them haven't been on TV. They streamed one game while I was at work. Did you catch that one at all, Joe?
Yeah, a little bit. I was watching it like in the background on my computer, but I had the volume up so I could kind of hear the play-by-play and watch every goal. But it was good. It was good to watch. But, Blake, you got me just all these talk about these players moving and saying goodbye. It's got me hurting. Can you tell me if there's anything else hurting?
Injury report. Injury report.
Yeah, so we got lots of things to catch up on in the injury front, but not a lot of terrible news. Franco Escobar is probably the biggest name. He's out 6 to 8 weeks right now. I'd say he was out 6 to 8 weeks about 2 weeks ago, so I'd say he's probably 4 to 6 weeks at this point. He got hurt the very first day of practice. So we're going to say, I'd say end of February, beginning of March, he's got a shot at coming back. I would expect him back.
What did Brad Guzan do to him?
If Escobar gets hurt, it normally is Brad punching him in the head.
Has he not learned his lesson by now? Stay away from Brad when he's near the ball.
So we don't know exactly what happened. I think he apparently fractured his right clavicle.
That sounds like an injury from running into a wall.
So I'm trying to think of all the scenarios in the game of soccer or football, depending on where you originate from, that you could injure your right clavicle. This isn't a common injury, Joe.
You could run into a wall and break it. You could ricochet off a wall, hit the ground, and break your clavicle. You could try to jump over a wall and miss and eventually hurt your clavicle.
So all of these are involving a wall, like the wall, like Brad Guzan. Yeah, I'm kind of with you. The club's not going to come out and say it, but every time Escobar's gotten hurt, it's been Brad.
Goose!
The problem is that every time Escobar gets hurt, Brad's involved. So we have one of two options. We can bench Escobar or bench Brad.
No, that's 0 of 0 options. I wouldn't do either.
Escobar, he scored a match winner for us in the MLS Cup final. Was it the first or the second goal? I was too excited to remember. I think he scored the second goal.
He scored the second goal because Joseph Martinez got that first goal.
He scored the first. King Joseph scored the first.
Yeah. After that wonderful tackle by Michael Parkhurst, Joseph was kept on side by the sideline, and he just had a wide open one-on-one with the goalie, and he's not going to miss that.
He was never going to miss it.
Hey, guess what? We got a star above the crest.
We got a star above the crest. Dude.
That's right.
So exciting. Oh, my gosh. Okay, yeah, we're going to get number 2 this year. Chris Gosselin, Lagos Kunga, and Patrick Okonkwo, that's so much fun to say, did not travel to California for the preseason. I think it's just some minor injuries. Obviously, we're out in California, but we're just trying to get everyone healthy, ready for this CONCACAF Champions League coming up. And the main thing that I want to see our team is formulate a really solid starting 11 as we approach that first CONCACAF Champions League game, because this tournament is huge and we really need to hit the ground running. I just don't think any of those guys were even on the fringe of breaking into the starting 11.
Is there anyone else hurt from the starting 11?
Not that I know of. I mean, Barco's hair.
Hair. Watch.
That's right. You guys heard it first. Hair watch. And this is not a guy I was expecting it out of. Controversial, braced-faced figure. Ezequiel Barco. Coming in this season, he's actually been tearing it up in preseason so far. And I think, personally, we've seen form matched with hairstyle many times in our team before with Joseph for the past 2 years. I think it's time to start recognizing some other players' form based on hairstyle.
Oh, we're going to have to do a Brad Guzan hair watch.
Quite possibly.
Because I think his form is directly tied to his hair.
I think that's possible. If he's been in good form or bad
Keeps it
form.
clean.
Well, it depends on which one you think he's been in, because it's been that way for a long time. But what I was saying is Barco's hairstyle. How would you describe this, Joe?
Well, Barco, if you guys don't know, is now roommates with Joseph Martinez. They're all buddy-buddying up. Joseph's going to keep him under his wing and teaching him how to do things. And one of the things he's teaching him is to dye his hair on a regular basis.
So now they go to the salon together?
Yeah, they got their salon buddies, their mocha frappuccino buddies.
And they're both single, right?
Yeah, and they're going to be assist buddies. Now that Joseph can no longer link up with Miggy, he's going to have to come up with another childhood nostalgic reference with Barco.
Okay. Barco, your hair, it's blondish, grayish. It reminds me of a Joseph of about a year ago in preseason. Maybe Barco is going to catch Joseph goal-scoring form by utilizing this preseason hairstyle. I'm hoping to see great things from this hairstyle, Barco. I hope you and Joseph have a great time at the barbershop or the salon or whatever you call it these days. We got to keep it rolling. Let's go ahead and recap all these incoming faces and players that came in from last season.
Yeah, and so many new faces. We got to start with our head coach. Tata out. De Boer in.
De Boer.
Frank De Boer.
De Boer.
Yeah, that's right. We got a new coach, and his name is De Boer.
De Boer. I'm excited.
This is wonderful news. It was a huge off-season news, and it came out of nowhere. I did my list of 5 coaches that we could go after and who I wanted, all of which were South American, and I could not have been more wrong. But I'm also very pleased with who we got. And this guy he came up through the Ajax system, not only as a coach, as a player, where he played 5 years with Ajax, eventually got sold to Barcelona along with his twin brother. It was kind of a piggyback deal. It's like, you take my brother, you take me, or you take me, you take my brother. I don't know which way it went. But
I would never want to be in that situation.
He's a wonderful player, and then he became a coach, led Ajax to the best 5-season run that Ajax has ever had. And maybe they're trying to redo that now this year. Ajax former or current champions and making a good run in the Champions League. They did kind of get screwed over just the other day against Real Madrid, but I digress. Let me talk more about Frank de Boer.
Well, I'm going to Amsterdam here in a couple of weeks. I'm actually going to go to an Ajax game. I'm going to do some advanced scouting about all of de Boer's groundwork that he laid over there. I'm excited to bring that back to you guys. But yeah, just a little preview. I'm gonna be heading to Amsterdam pretty soon to do some advanced scouting on De Boer.
I do want to go into a little bit of the background of kind of the players that De Boer had coached during his time there. And these are guys he brought in and eventually shipped off for a profit. And it's kind of the Atlanta United model that we're imagining, is Ajax being a team that's kind of just below the rest of the European premier teams like the Premier League and La Liga, etc. He brought in guys like Thomas Vermeulen or Jan Vertonghen, or Seattle's Nicolas Ladero played for Ajax for a while. Another Amsterdam great, Gregory van der Wiel. One of the greatest players in the Premier League at the moment, Christian Eriksen. All played under De Boer, but I think the biggest and baddest name has to be Luis Suarez.
The cannibal.
And other players to play with him, Daily Blind, another wonderful star of today. And Ajax has just been this team that has brought in all sorts of wonderful players and sold them on. Before De Boer's time, they had other players like Wesley Sneijder and none other than Zlatan Ibrahimovic.
Zlatan, he was a guest on the show last season. That was fun. Maybe we'll have Zlatan back this year, depending on how we're getting along with LA Galaxy. But I think you're so right, Joe. I think that what he brings and what he brought to Ajax over the 6 or 7 years that he coached there, that model was exactly what Atlanta United's looking to instill. And most people think, well, to be a selling club in Europe, you need to be placed in Europe. But it's going to be very interesting to see over the next year or two, if we can keep feeding our top talent to Europe, then all of a sudden Europe's going to start looking at the MLS. And I think it's going to help the entire league. I don't think it's going to be Atlanta United exclusive. I think if Miggy tears it up the rest of the season in the Premier League, he's only got half a season to make his mark. But I really think you're going to start to see a lot more scouts in the MLS at MLS games from La Liga, from the Premier League, from the Bundesliga.
Yeah.
Because I just think they're going to say, wow, where'd this guy come from?
Yeah, and I look at this list of names coming from Ajax, and I just kind of imagine myself 10 years from now going back through and looking at all these stars in the Premier League and seeing Miguel Almiron, maybe Joseph Martinez, maybe a Lagos Kunga or Andrew Carlton or Chris Goslin, and just seeing other kids coming up through the system and being transferred on. That is our dream, and I think we can really encapsulate that.
Yeah, so, Frank de Boer, Dutch pronunciation, I believe, is Frank de Boer.
De Boer.
And then, obviously, Deep South Georgia would be Frank de Boer. Frank de Boer.
Or
Frank de Boer.
Of course, that Midwest accent.
That's
We've already kind of done
down
it a
in
little
South
bit.
Georgia.
It'd be Frank de Boer.
Y'all heard about that new coach, Frank de Boer? So we got a lot of different accents. Either way, we're happy to have Frank the Tank de Boer a part of our team. And welcome, Coach. We can't wait to watch you all season long. We know you're a tactical genius, and we're excited to watch you coach the team. Other incoming players, let's get to it. Number 1, it's our favorite Argentinian bird, P.T. Martinez.
P.T. Martinez. Probably the most non-secret transfer Atlanta has ever been a part of.
I think this guy is the most exciting player that we have signed of our entire history. I really do. Joseph Martinez, Miguel Almiron, fantastic signings. We made some other really exciting signings early on when we first launched our team that I think people hyped up, whether that was who was the striker that we signed at the very beginning of Atlanta United's history? There's a little bit of trivia for you, Joe. He was tall. He used to play for Newcastle United.
Kenwyn Jones!
Kenwyn Jones. There we go. And I remember when Kenwyn Jones signed, even 92-90 game was all about Kenwyn Jones. Atlanta United just signed Kenwyn Jones. Wow, this is fantastic. And
I couldn't tell where you were going with that. I thought you might have been bringing up an Oscar Romero reference.
No.
You went old Kenwyn on me.
Yeah, I went full Kenwyn. That was the first hype signing I can remember in Atlanta United's history. Here we are in year 3 of Atlanta United. We've been talking about season 2 a lot, but we're in year 3 of the club's history, and P.T. Martinez. It's pronounced like P and then a T-shirt. So if you guys are out, correct your friends. It's P.T. It's not pity. No one is pitying this guy. We're not feeling sorry for him.
He is not a fool.
You P.T. the fool. But this is based off of an Argentinian bird. It's a P. titora. It's a small bird similar to a sparrow. It's native exclusively to Argentina. Its wings buzz like a hummingbird. And
sting like a bee?
It flutters around the trees with an energy that's famous among the locals. They love these birds. And P.T., that's what he's like around the goal. This guy scores goals. He was Argentinian Player of the Year, South American Player of the Year nominee. This guy has been starting for the Argentinian national team sporadically. The best player in South America right now. We capture him in the offseason for less money than we sold Miguel Almiron on. I think we've swapped 2 left-footed players. I think the one incoming is actually better. And I love Miggy. That's how highly I think of this guy. He's a goal-scoring threat. He's a playmaker. And he's going to be fantastic for our team this year. I think he might have made our team even better than last year.
Oh, I can't say enough about how excited I am to see P.D. Martinez on the field. And if you want to compare him to Miguel Almiron, it's a little different. I think P.D. Martinez is going to bring our attack to the next level. The best attack in the league from last year just got better with P.D. Martinez. He's gonna be a guy that might even challenge Joseph Martinez for the most goals on our team. But one thing we might be lacking is Miguel Almiron's tenacity of tracking back and playing defensive. But we have other midfielders to take that slack away. And with us attacking so hard with P.D. Martinez, it's not gonna be missed all that much.
Well, we'll see. I mean, there's the rumor of Nagby, so whatever, Darlington. It's not cool. I just think that we're going to win some games 4-3 this year. I agree with you. I think that PD is a situation where he's just not the defensive player Miggy was, but he's probably 2 times the offensive player.
Yeah, but Blake, you just mentioned Darlington. I said Darlington who? Why do you need Darlington when you got players like Breck Shea?
Breck Shea. He's back. He's back on our team. He's never been on our team.
He's never been on our team.
But he's back in the game because he's going for the throne, right?
We got this wonderful Breck Shea of Targaryen blood. He is coming straight out of the Targaryen family tree, and he comes with his blonde, wonderful dreadlocks. He does late descendant. If you guys didn't know, we might be calling him the Prince of the Woodland Realm. He is an elf related to Legolas from Lord of the Rings.
You're going from Game of Thrones to Middle Earth.
Yeah, he is.
And then we're circling back around to a soccer player.
He is the unit that bridges the gap.
So this is a real crossover episode. This is serious crossover. So Breck Shea is descended from Legolas's family in Lord of the Rings, the Elven kin, and then he's also descended from Daenerys Targaryen's side of the family. Did he come out of
yes.
a dragon egg?
Now, if you follow the ball that Breck Shea plays from the sideline and crosses it in, and you follow that line of trees, you can kind of see a little bit of elven, wonderful godliness coming through, and then curving over to see the mess that is the Targaryen family.
So Breck Shea, let's talk a little bit about this guy. In all seriousness, despite his sci-fi and just overall superhero qualities, which we're very aware of, as mentioned, this guy's only 28 years old. A lot of people think Breck Shea, they think of an older guy. His birthday is actually February the 28th, so you guys remember, wish Breck a happy birthday, coming up here soon. This guy's from Texas. He's a winger, but he also can play left back. He was a mainstay in the U.S. men's national team for a long time. He was a crucial part of our national team honestly, for 10 years, from 2005 to 2015. Every time I watched the U.S. men's national team play, I felt like I saw Breck Shea.
Oh, and back in my early childhood, he's only 8 years. No, he's younger than me. Wow, you say he's turning 28?
Yeah, he's only 28 years old.
Yeah, I'm about to turn 30.
Yeah,
so
see?
In my early childhood, when I was just going to high school and he was making millions of dollars playing soccer, I was watching this Breck Shea kid come up thinking he was going to be something awesome. Playing for FC Dallas and made his breakthrough for the U.S. men's national team, scored a couple of incredible goals, and he was one of the early MLS players to get sold to the Premier League.
Yeah.
On an epic bust. And then he went and sold to Stoke City, and Stoke did not like him at all. They loaned him out multiple times, and he never scored over there, never really made a big impact, and he eventually got sold back to the MLS to trash Lando.
Yeah, and I'm going to defend Breck really quick. First off, at this point, we didn't know they were trash Lando. Second off, he was like Miggy. At the prime age in his career, this was 6 years ago. He was 22 years old. He gets an offer from a Premier League club, not at the top, but kind of like Newcastle United and Miggy right now. He jumps at it. And honestly, he was, from the start, not set up to succeed. He had an operation over the offseason he was not all the way recovered from, and then he also picked up a knee injury. Once he got healthy, they immediately loaned him out. He never really had a chance to succeed in Europe. And I think that coming all the way back to Atlanta United, I saw a really cool interview with him recently. He just said he's just excited to play with the team that plays again. And when he says plays, he means the ball on the ground, making short passes, letting him go after it. Because with Orlando and then Vancouver, those are two pretty negative teams.
Yeah, and he made his transition after Orlando to Vancouver, and you started to see flashes of old Breck back on the team with Vancouver. Now brought in on a DP contract, so clearly he was overpaid or overvalued for what he was bringing to the team, and that's why he gets this really bad reputation. But he has had some brilliant flashes, even as recently as last season. Go back and look at him. I mean, he in 53 appearances over the past 2 years with Vancouver, he scored 7 goals, and he can still bring some really good game to us. And now that we bring him in, he's not on a DP contract, and he's in 28, which is the prime of your career. That's in your peak seasons as a soccer player.
Yeah.
This could be a very underrated and big-time move by Atlanta United.
And obviously, with Greg Garza departing, you have to ask yourself, is this our new left back? I mean, we got George Bello coming up through the ranks. I know we have Hernandez also, who was on pretty much our B team last year at the ATL UTD2. But is this our new left back? And I wouldn't be upset about this. I think Breck Shea could be an excellent left back in MLS. I think he'd be an excellent left back in DeBoer's system. And I'm excited to see him play. I really am. Like, this isn't like we bought like an old player like, no offense, Jeff. You know, Jeff's a little up there in years. No offense, Parkey. Breck's still in the prime of his career, and we don't need to forget that.
Yeah, I like it.
I'm excited about this guy.
I think it's an open competition for that left back spot. You mentioned them, but I think George Bello and Breck Shea are the front runners to claim that spot, and it's anybody's game. And who's going to perform to Frank DeBoer's liking, and who's going to win that spot? And it could be throughout the season that you see shifts and changes depending on who is in better form at the time.
And I'm totally fine with that. Bello's a young kid. Shea's a more experienced veteran. I love the rotation that's coming up at left back, and I think we're really solid, and we've improved the position despite losing Garza. Oh my gosh. Did you know we signed Pogba in the offseason?
Well, we were too busy talking about Breck Shea and Pity Martinez that we forgot to mention we got Pogba.
Yeah.
Did you guys realize we have Pogba on our team?
We have Florentine Pogba, Paul Pogba's older brother. Another 28-year-old.
It's done. We're repeating as champions.
I think this is a good sign. He had a little bit of a controversial moment with his last team where he apparently got sort of hurt and walked off the pitch, and like the game was still going on and they were down to 10 men, and all of his teammates tried to fight him in the locker room afterwards, and then he got cut by that team. But we're going to forget that ever happened.
Oh, wow. So we got Pogba, who is known to do that, and then we got Breck Shea, who is kind of a nutcase in the locker room.
Well, I mean, he's also a Targaryen, so that kind of explains some of it.
Oh, yeah, it kind of...
They like fire and all that stuff.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. But yeah, this is an exciting signing. This is a left-footed center back normally, but could we also see him drift out all the way to left back in Frank DeBoer's system? Possibly. We've signed a couple players. Shea could be a winger or a midfielder or a left back. He can play he's like a Gressel of the left. You know, Gressel can play anywhere on the right. I feel like Breck, the Targaryen's kind of a Gressel of the left.
Well, what I love about the Pogba signing is it gives our center back so much depth right now. We all know LGP is locked for the starter. Parkhurst, who's one of my favorite players, I don't know if he's a lock for a starter, even though he is captain. And if he stays captain, you would think the captain is a lock for that starting position. But then you got this up-and-coming Miles Robinson, who played some great minutes last year and now is coming into his third season, and he's really going to be pushing for some minutes. And then you get the veteran of Pogba, who is a solid player in his own right, that very well could be fighting for that starting position. Not to mention you got Jeff Larinowitz or Escobar as other guys that can fill in at center back. So I think this is a wonderful signing to really round out that defense. And with the so much clutter of games we're going to have with Champions League, MLS regular season, and then the U.S. Open Cup right around the corner, we're going to need a lot of rotation. So I think that's a great signing. And then we got one more kind of big signing that came during the offseason. Dion Pereira, this young kid out of the Watford youth system, made his way to the first team, didn't really quite break his way in, and we were able to poach him from Watford, and he's got a lot of potential. I'm excited to see him play.
Yeah, he's an English footballer, and but I mean, this guy's only 19. I don't think his picture, he looks like he's about 14. I just pulled him up on Google here, but I just don't think that this is a guy that's going to make an impact season one. unless they really feel like we need help on the wings enough to bring in a 19-year-old. I just think wings is one of our most stacked positions, and we'll get to that later. I just don't see this guy breaking into the first team this year, but I think he's a great prospect for the future, and excited to see his development.
Yeah, well, after we go through all these wonderful players and getting so stoked for the season, I really, really am thirsty, and I think I need a beer. Beer of the week!
Every week.
And we're back. We got to celebrate our championship. It's almost nostalgic. So we picked a beer this week from Slow Pour Brewing Company. It's called Nostalgia IPA.
Yeah, I don't know if it's quite nostalgia yet. I mean, December wasn't that long ago.
That was 2018, bro.
You're right.
Let me spike this one in because it's very nostalgic.
Spike it for everyone.
For the star.
ATL. Cool little brewery.
It's got a wonderful little taste, too. And we're going back with our classic IPA, and it's got that fruity taste. It's a wonderful and delicious IPA.
Slow Pour Brewing Company out of Lawrenceville, Georgia. This one comes in at 6.4% alcohol. And they have a little quote on here, slow dance in your taste buds. So we're going to be nostalgic and look back at our championship and some wonderful legends that have departed our club, like Miggy and Tata, and you'll always be remembered well. We won't forget you, Greg, either. Greg Garza. Don't ever forget. Chris McCann, I love you too. Nagby, I hope you don't leave, but you probably will. Pour one out.
Carlos Carmona.
And never forget Carlos Carlito. Carmona.
Little Yamil Assad.
Yeah, don't forget Yamil.
You know what? I'm noticing a trend with Yamil Assad and Chris McCann.
Dude, I just took my first sip of this. I am getting more nostalgic. We're talking about ex-players.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And DC United is just kind of like waiting in the wings to pick up Atlanta United scraps.
I can't believe they picked up Chris McCann. That's crazy. And gosh, I liked our old jerseys better. Why am I getting so nostalgic? Anyways, this is a really good beer. You guys check it out. I've actually never been to this brewery, but if you guys are ever in Lawrenceville, are you ever in Lawrenceville, Joe?
Yeah, every day. I work in Swanee, so I kind of drive through Lawrenceville.
Should make a stop on your way home. This is a good beer. Guys, we're going to have a new section actually in Season 2 this year. It's in honor of our new coach, Frank Dubor. And we're going to call it... Joe, can you do a Dutch accent for this for us here?
Total Tactique!
That's right. It's Frank de Boer's Total Tactics, or Frank de Boer Total Tactique.
Does that mean I'm going to have to learn Dutch this season to give us someone in the audience or in the group that speaks Dutch?
I covered this earlier. I'm going to Amsterdam for a couple days, and I'm going to see Ajax play. And
so it's all on you.
I'm going to learn the entire language in about 4 days. Have you ever heard of Rosetta Stone?
No, what's that?
It's like a software, but I think they have like podcasts. Maybe I don't know. I just figured
is it made from a stone.
Well, I figured I'm gonna be flying like about 8 hours. So, how long does it take to learn a language? Do you think? Do you think I should just
less than 8 hours?
Yeah, I was thinking I'd just buy Rosetta Stone, and then on the plane I could learn Dutch, and then when I landed. Then we'd be good, right?
I learned Spanish in like 10 episodes last season.
So yeah, this is our new coach, and I figured I'd open it up. Until I learn Dutch, I won't be able to translate perfectly for everyone. Joe will continue to translate our Spanish. I'll work on my Dutch in the next couple of weeks and do what I can. He has said he wants to make us more explosive. What does that mean, Joe?
West Coast stuff.
West Coast?
Yeah, explosive.
Explosive. And that's why we're in California training right now.
Yeah.
Right?
It's all making sense.
It's all coming full circle. I don't know how we could have been more explosive than last year, but here's what Parker said about training so far. And I thought this was a really cool quote. You know me, if you've listened to us for a while, I love my quotes. Parker says, we're playing a variation of the system we played last year. Okay, that's a red flag. Variation. I want to play exactly like last year. I want to win another cup, right?
Win the cup.
Right. Not everything's completely new. This is Parker's talking, but definitely some things out of our starting positions are a little bit new. He wants us to press, and when he doesn't, he wants guys to rotate. It's going to be more zone-oriented than man-to-man. Little things that we need to get used to. And we've been watching a lot of film. We're still adjusting to this style. The zone is going to be a huge transition for our team. So, And then DeBoer in another interview says he feels like this zone is going to give us the ability to be more explosive. Tata Martino also played a pressing style, right? But we were man marking. So every man had a man. You guarded your man. You pressed your man.
Yeah, and
we're going to be pressing in zones now, which is going to be very interesting to watch.
Yeah, and Tata did play a lot of pressing, and he came into the league saying we are going to be a high press, high attack team, and that was 2017, and it really exposed us at the back. And coming into 18, he kind of laid back off of that, where he pressed in spurts and at times when we needed it, but really he wanted to possess more and sit back, and that's what rode us to be one of the best teams in the MLS history, and then win the cup at the end of the year. So it's all about being able to adapt to the MLS style. So we're going to see how Frank DeBoer comes in and is able to implement a system, and then as things don't go quite his way, see how he adapts and maybe makes little tweaks and changes. And if it's for the better or for the worst, that's to be seen.
Yeah, and I mean, he's bringing in a ton of experience internationally, whether it's playing internationally or whether it's coaching internationally. He knows what he's doing. But this zone press is going to be a little bit different for everyone to get used to. I think at first we might concede some goals. I really expect, like I said earlier on in the show, Atlanta United is going to go back to winning some games 5-3. I fully believe that this year. With the attacking prowess we have, and we'll get to kind of a preview of what our starting 11 might look like as we roll into the season. With the attack we have, we can score goals. If we're going to press constantly like he has in the past, Brad might have a lot of chances to make some saves, and I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
Have you been following preseason? I mean, we've won 7-1, 6-1, 2-2. It's been up and down. And it's been, I know I asked if you've been following preseason.
So we've scored 15 goals and we've given up 4.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll take that.
I'll take that too.
No clean sheets, but you know.
But I'm also not going to blame you guys if you haven't followed preseason, because they've kind of ghosted us, which I'm a little upset about, because I have gone out and traveled to the preseason games the past 2 seasons, and now they wanted to go behind closed doors and travel out to California. Well, that's not quite in my budget this year.
Well, you can still catch the games if you slip in the DMs, is what I've heard. Like, they'll show like little clips on Twitter.
So I got to become Barco.
No, that was Barco's game too last year.
That's kind of what he's good at.
Barco is good. Is Brandon Vasquez still play for us, by the way?
Yeah, Vasquez is on the team. I saw him in that little bit of a YouTube sensation that they gave us of Atlanta United playing Tijuana.
Oh, okay, so
I saw some
the
Vasquez.
DMs. That's what I was talking about, the DMs, like the little YouTube clips and like the random stuff on Twitter. That's really all you can catch of the highlights of the preseason.
Not just the highlights of Barco's hair?
Yeah, well, you can catch those too. Are they friends now? Is everything cool? I figure we should address this episode 1 of the new season. Like, are they cool?
Everything looks cool.
Cool?
Yeah, if you saw during the Cup run, there was a picture of Barco right next to Vasquez, and Vasquez had his hand somewhere near Barco, and he had his awkward face on, and Vasquez was smiling, so I think that just kind of settled it right there.
Back to tactics. Let's talk about this starting 11.
Blake, no, it's tactiques.
Tactiques. Let's talk about the starting 11. We're bringing in Dutch Total Football. More on that in the coming weeks, but he's bringing in a coaching method that has been famous in Amsterdam and the Netherlands. He has obviously received award in 2013, DeBoer, for Manager of the Year after he led Ajax to their 3rd successive title. You mentioned all the players that he brought through his academy that went on to other teams in Europe, Joe.
Yeah.
So let's talk about this team. And if you had to pick DeBoer's starting 11 right now, let's start with the back line and move our way forward. I'd love to know your thoughts. Let's kind of work through this together. I think we're probably both in agreement that the wall is going to be between the posts. Brad Guzan.
And I'll start with the back, but first I kind of want to backtrack and let you said DeBoer won 3 consecutive titles and he got the award. He went on and won another title after that, and he won 4 straight with Ajax.
Wait, how long was his contract with us?
I don't know.
I think it was 4 years, right?
We're going to keep him as long as
I think it was
he
a 4-year
contract.
well, it's a 4-year contract. I was just saying there might be some foreshadowing there. 4 years, 4 titles.
4 titles.
That would be okay. That'd be a pretty good investment.
Yeah, and then he'd leave, and then someone else comes in, and we keep winning titles, keep adding stars.
Yeah,
and then all of a sudden, we're gonna have like the American flag above our crest,
or
with
a
50
full,
stars.
a full circle of stars.
Just 50 stars, just up above the crest, and then.
Dude, I don't know about you. I don't think I'm gonna make it to 50 stars. Like, I'm just being honest. Like, I'm getting close to 30 myself, and if you added 50 more years in my life, I don't know how things are looking. I don't mean to get dark.
All right, well, let's get away from that. Let me go back to my starting 11.
Yeah, okay.
And
You're
I'm
back
gonna
4.
Reminisce a lot of what we had last season, and I'm going to see, but I want to see there's going to be a swing of Breck Shea and George Bello on the left, and they're going to fight out. I want to see Bello because I love that upstart, but it might be more safer bet to have Breck Shea to start the season out there.
And we can sing our U2 song. Bello, Bello.
That works.
Got a left back scoring goals.
It's going to be a hit.
Remember that one?
Yeah.
Yeah, we had a lot of other Bello songs. That was mine.
And then we're going to go with the traditional center backs of LGP and Parkey.
Okay.
And then they've got a good rotation base there. On the right side, once he's healthy, is going to be Franco Escobar.
Yeah.
But he's got to get healthy. And now that's a huge question mark. We're going to have, it's a wait to be seen. Who is it going to be? Hernandez? Or are we going to move to a back three and put Gresselmania up there?
We really don't have a lot of right back depth. I was going to talk about that as we break this down. I think Gressel's the no-brainer until Escobar's healthy. I think what we'll see in the CONCACAF Champions League is most likely Gressel at right back because DeBoer likes his left and right back to play his wing backs just like Tata and really get up and down that flank. And I think that the acquisition of Breck Shea, a fast kid like George Bello, what we've seen Gresselmania do in a wing back role, it all fits his system. He likes those backs getting up and down wide on the wing.
Now, Blake, the starting lineup is just a total mystery to me to what he's going to do this season. It really is, and I can plug and play players everywhere, and that's what's so great about our roster is it's so deep and we can plug and play everywhere. But there is one player that I know is guaranteed a slotted defensive midfield position, and that's Eric Remedi. And I don't see any other lineup out there, any formation that you can put out there that Remedi is not in that holding midfield, defensive mid position.
Yeah, and I mean, we do have Larry for another year. I think Larry can rotate in so that Remedi can get some rest, or we could play a double pivot where we actually have two defensive midfielders with Pity Martinez playing in front of them. And I wonder if that's the system that Frank the Tank is going with here. Is he going with, I want to play two defensive midfielders to cover for Pity's lack of attacking prowess, and that's why we can afford to let Darlington Nagbe go. Because, Darlington Nagbe was classically a link between a central defensive midfielder like Remedi or Lorenowitz like Jeff, and he played in between him and Miggy. So Miggy would play at the 10, we'd have a 6 and Remedi or Larry, and then Nagbe was just a great connector. Mm-hmm. But I'm thinking maybe if he's willing to let Nagbe go, which it kind of sounds like the team might be, then possibly we're going to play two central defensive midfielders with Larry and Remedi and have Pity play in front of him so Pity doesn't even have to worry about defense.
Or even Barco play in front of him, Pity out wide.
Pity can run all over the field knowing that he's got the cover of Remedi and Larry. That's just a thought. I think that's my starting three in the midfield right now.
Okay, well, I want to back up a little bit too. If we're going to get Lorenowitz in the game, another spot he could play, we could go three defenders.
Yeah.
And we can have Parkey, LGP, and Larry, kind of like we did in the Cup run and having those three defenders while you can push Gresselmania as that right wing back and then Breck Shea or Bello as the other back.
Yeah. A lot of options across our back line, a lot of options in our midfield. Let's talk about the front three. And who do you see on the wings? Who do you see playing like that Miggy role, that central attacking midfield number 10 this year, Joe?
Well, there's just so much confusion and not knowing who's out there. I know Joseph Martinez is going to be our striker.
There we go.
And left wing is either going to be Pity Martinez or Barco. And then the right wing, if Julian Gressel's not playing a right back, he's going to be playing that right wing and playing a great spot. But I love Tito Villalba. And a lot of people loved him as coming off the bench, and what an option to have off the bench. But I want to see Tito Villalba with his speed in the game, getting up there, playing that right wing or playing a secondary striker to Joseph Martinez. So I know I just mentioned all these players, and I'm not going to be wrong at times. I'm not going to be right at times. I'm just excited and mouthwatering over our depth, and I cannot give you a legit starting 11 because we have so many options, and it's just endless, and we can pick and choose and just kind of navigate the lineup to be whatever the liking that fits the game.
And I think we have to add on an additional competition this year. I think we got to keep everything in perspective. We built a team that can rotate between 3 to 4 lineups, and that's crucial when you're playing in 3 competitions. Like we're going into, and then if we enter the MLS Cup at the end of the season, that's going to be 4 total competitions that we've played across the course of the year. We're going to need all the rotation we can get. I think you talked about Gressel on the right. I think he can slot back into the midfield 3. I think Villalba on the wing is a great shout. And then I think that we got, obviously, new kids like Pereira coming in that could play on the wing as well. So I'm excited.
And I've got one more to mention when we're talking about attack. I've just been watching the highlights and everything that they keep leaking out on the app, on social media, and every little thing that I can see. And one kid who's one of our own has been showing up, at least highlight factory-wise. Andrew Carlton, I got to give him a shout-out. He might have something to prove after his blunder of last season and missing the cup.
Andrew Carlton might have something to say.
He has had a wonderful bicycle kick. He has a wonderful one-on-one, take-him-on, fast break goal. And he is lighting up the highlights this offseason. Is there a chance he can break through and start making the starting lineup more so than he did last year?
I couldn't be more excited for this year. And our new link-up with the Martinez brothers, possibly new fusion bonding. I'll finish tactics with this quote. This is from Dubor himself. He said, PD is going to fill that role. He's talking about Almiron's role. Almiron had a fantastic feeling with Joseph. He's talking about fusion. But what I saw already right now, PD already has it with Joseph. So if that's a sign to come, the Martinez bros might be a scary duo. And I couldn't be more excited to see our attacking side this year, Joe.
Man, Blake, you can't say it any better than that. I am so excited. So much to go on this season. Thank you guys for coming back to us. We are ATLiens United. Please hit us up. We're going to do a new section this year, our fan section. And send us emails at atliensunited@gmail.com.
Yeah.
And we can send you a link if you want. And just give us questions. We got plenty of show to do, and we got plenty of wonderful song that you guys can listen to over and over again.
Yeah, and I mean, we just try to do this for you guys. Again, this is a fan-run show by fans for you guys. We just want to hear from you. If you guys want us to talk about something, cover something that's on your mind, or just give us a hot take, we'll give you our hot take back. But again, atliensunited@gmail.com. We couldn't do this show without you guys. We really appreciate everyone subscribing, listening. We forgot to plug it at the first part, but hey, guys, don't forget us. 5 stripes for the 5 stars. 5 stars for the 5 stripes, right?
It might end up being 9 stripes.
Yeah, we're going to have a lot of stripes on our new jersey.
5 stripes, don't stop.
Yeah, hit subscribe.
Adding stripes to their jersey.
We appreciate you guys. Thanks for tuning in. Catch us next week and email us, and we'll talk about it on the show. I'm Blake the Marshman.
I'm ATL Joe.
See you guys next week.
Listen to that song.
We got a preview for the CONCACAF.
1 second. Big ball. We ready, need everybody involved. We ready. Some days I smile like me. Everybody united around my city. Mercedes Benz sound real pretty. Coach top of me and I'm ready. Atlanta United. We ready, we routed. We back again and we bout it. We ready, we routed. We back again and we bout it. You could probably catch me in the front row with a bad bitty body banging like a bongo. We got the cup, but we want more. Kaya Taylor Boca, we got Leandro. Everybody here, alright, hola. You know what it is, 5 stripes, don't stop. You know what it is, we just cut up the rest. Now we got a gold star hanging above the crest. They lost in translation, they not understanding me. Joseph Martinez, Atlanta is family. My city love it, Orlando was mad at me. I kept it clean, but they stuck over and trash at me. WrestleMania, Frank the boy, MLS champs. Gotta thank the Lord, boy, we number 1. What you take us for? Got a shout out off the blade, send the course.